And we are very excited to show you a project that aims to prevent corruption in our country in times of emergency, like the COVID-19 pandemic that we are all living through. Before giving you some information about our digital platform and some relevant data on corruption in our country, I would like to introduce you to Ángeles Estrada. She's the director of the Transparency and Anti-Corruption Initiative of the School of Government and Public Transformation at Tec de Monterrey, a university based in Mexico. The Transparency and Anti-Corruption Initiative aims to build citizens who are committed to transparency, accountability, integrity, prevention, and the fight against corruption. Ángeles is a lawyer passionate about promoting transparency and integrity in Mexico.
Good evening in Paris and buenos días in Mexico. Thanks, Carlos, for the introduction. We are quite happy and honored to be here before specialists and citizens interested in public matters and to have the opportunity to present you with our platform that we have called Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus. We were thrilled to receive the acceptance letter from the Paris Peace Forum. Since we put the reporting tool in place, we have worked hard to implement a platform where all citizens can have a public space to express their concerns and experiences related to corruption and also governmental failures. This project has taught us about how citizens approach the corruption experience. Certainly, a digital platform is making it easier for Mexican citizens to report corruption. With this platform, academia and civil society organizations have provided citizens with the elementary tools that allow them to be confident while reporting corruption. With this in mind, let me introduce you to Carlos Guerrero, my partner in this project. Carlos is a young lawyer and litigation attorney. During his time living in Madrid, Washington, D.C., and Mexico City, he has looked for the answers to the questions that governments have been avoiding for years in matters related to integrity and anti-corruption. Carlos is co-founder of an NGO called Derechos Humanos y Litigio Estratégico Mexicano. This organization demands accountability with a human rights perspective. Before courts across Mexico, they have defended citizens' rights to live in an environment free of corruption and to have a good public administration.
Now, we request your attention for a few minutes. We'll start with some context about what we were thinking when we created the tool, given the environment of corruption and impunity we live in Mexico. Then we'll show you how our platform works, what its main achievements are, and our plans for it for the future. If you have any questions, please write them down in the chat. And by the end of our presentation, we'll be very happy to answer them.
In the beginning of March of this year, we were horrified looking at what was happening in Europe and Asia, and we were sure that we would be in the same, even in situation pretty soon. Since then, we knew that we didn't have enough hospital beds, enough doctors, masks, ventilators, antibacterial gel. Basically, we didn't have enough of anything. But at the time, the scenario was pretty much the same in every country of the world, and we knew that the COVID-19 would hit us hard. But the health emergency was not our only concern. Corruption was also a very real and present consideration in places like Mexico and other countries in Latin America as they experience these situations of extreme need. Abuse and acts of corruption were being performed by people who should have been helping their fellow citizens. In Mexico, corruption is a pandemic.
We have no time to lose. The organizations that we represent, within 2 weeks, designed and created a reporting platform that we called Denuncia Corrupción Coronavirus, or Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus in English. As we mentioned, corruption and its effects are harmful in highly vulnerable situations, such as the pandemic that currently afflicts us. We must be willing and prepared to report corruption to the authorities and to society as a whole. Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus seeks to give a voice to victims of corruption and assist authorities in preventing and fighting against this social illness. Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus is a friendly tool designed for any person to report acts of corruption related to the detection, handling, and treatment of the COVID-19 virus, the violation or restriction of access to personal data, as well as governmental failures in both public and private hospitals.
The information that came in through the platform provides us with enough data to create a corruption victimization measurement in the health sector, a figure that was unavailable until today in Mexico. It helps us to analyze and create better procedures to mitigate corruption in emergency and scarcity scenarios, to give legal advice and help those citizens that want to formally report to the authorities the acts of corruption they suffer, so that they can start investigative procedures in order to determine if an illegal act was committed, and if so, to impose sanctions. In Mexico, the unreported crime rate is more than 90%. This is related to the lack of have towards their institutions, but also to the bureaucratic difficulties and the perils that citizens have to deal with to become whistleblowers. Under these circumstances, anonymity is a necessary tool that citizens can use, and a tool that authorities should encourage in order to promote a culture of reporting acts of corruption. Under the Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus platform, users can choose to maintain complete anonymity, or if he or she wants to denounce the situation to the authorities, they are asked to provide limited personal data so that we can open a line of communication and help them to start the administrative and/or criminal procedure.
One of the things that we thought about when we created Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus was that we wanted the vocabulary used in the tool to be accessible and understandable to all of our users. Therefore, we tried to translate some of the dense language used in criminal and administrative law to describe crimes and wrongdoing into a citizen lexicon. In doing so, the acts like bribery, sextortion, or abuse of power. An understandable ignorance about law discourages reporting, and so employing friendly language tools becomes an easy and critical way to remove one of the multiple obstacles that an informant faces. In cases where a complainant claims they were asked for money in return for a service, the tool asks them to input the amount that was requested, enabling us to later determine an average cost of corruption related to accessing detection, handling, and/or treating COVID-19.
Regarding claims about governmental failures, Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus presents an exhaustive list of basic materials needed for the treatment of COVID-19, so that citizens and health personnel can report what they're lacking with specificity. The idea here is to cross-check this information with the information published by the government regarding the distribution of materials to determine if the required materials are reaching their correct destination. Also, Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus has a specific section to report the violation or restriction to access to personal data. At the beginning of the pandemic, some people reached out to us to report that even though they were told about the results of their COVID tests, when they went to pick them up, they were denied access to official documents containing the results. Because of this, we added a space on our platform where people can find official information about their rights regarding their personal data, as well as a short questionnaire where they can report these situations. Finally, we open a section for those who work in the health sector, doctors, nurses, paramedics, cleaning, and administrative staff, everyone who works within a clinic or a hospital. We ask them to tell us about those scarce goods indispensable for them to fulfill their duty. Also, we ask them to tell us about any illegality they knew about or had witnessed while working. A third of the total of reports that we have received are from the health sector.
Amnesty International recently reported that of the almost 7,000 health professionals in the world who have lost their lives to COVID-19, at least 1,320 were registered in Mexico. We believe that corruption has had a lot to do with this tragic and unnecessary loss of lives. Once an informant files a report, the data is organized and graphed by type of report and location. As we have obtained reports from informants, we have also systemized them to be able to share them with the corresponding authorities with the expectation that they will take preventive actions. In the case of reports related to acts of corruption, the communication was addressed to the head of the Ministry of Public Administration, Secretaría de la Función Pública, an agency of the federal executive branch in charge of designing, planning, executing, and coordinating public policies on internal control and the evaluation of government management. The Ministry of Public Administration is tasked with ensuring that federal public servants adhere to the law during the exercise of their functions, and it sanctions those who do not do so. Regarding the protection of personal data, we addressed the communication to the National Institute of Transparency, Access to Information, and Protection of Personal Data, which is an autonomous constitutional body in Mexico that guarantees the fulfillment of two fundamental rights: access to public information and the protection of personal data.
Another advantage that is offered through the platform is that citizens are offered legal advice in case they decided to formally file a complaint, providing them with support during the process. And a fundamental part of making the existence of this tool known to the public has been the approach that the team has taken with journalists and the media, which has allowed us to reach more people. We have had a total of more than 5,000 visits to the page and received a total of 371 reports. By implementing whistleblowing corruption coronavirus, we want to change the culture of reporting regarding acts of corruption in Mexico. In our country, the percentage of corruption crimes and wrongdoing that are not reported exceeds the amount of 90%. Also, the weak justice administration system has prevented whistleblowers, brave men and women, from fulfilling their civic duty to report public servants and individuals responsible for acts of corruption that have made them victims.
And how do we make sure that in the context of the epidemic in Mexico, corruption is investigated and prosecuted? Report, report, report. How to encourage whistleblowers to trust their authorities, define standards to protect them against reprisal and acts that threaten their life, dignity, and labor rights. By presenting our proposal here at the Paris Peace Forum, we hope to improve and build upon this project with comments from you all, the important social and public stakeholders participating today. The Paris Peace Forum presents an invaluable opportunity for us to connect with the allies needed to achieve midterm objectives and, based on the needs of public health in Mexico, redefine long-term objectives in the wake of a vaccine or another COVID-19 breakout. We are eager to find private and public actors who believe in the need to promote the reporting of acts of corruption in the health sector of our country. We want to be surrounded by women and men who believe that reporting acts of corruption and protecting whistleblowers is a way to achieve peace and stability in the world. The pandemic has forced citizens to redefine their priorities in the public sector and reassess their trust in institutions.
As we begin the difficult process of social, economic, and political recovery, we believe that our digital platform, Whistleblowing Corruption Coronavirus, will contribute to the citizens' demand. Anti-corruption mechanisms should be loud and strong. Please join our project and contact us.
It has been a great honor for us to be present at this forum and to be able to share with all of you what we are passionate about, fighting corruption as a way to achieve peace and a fair society. Thanks to all who have listened to us and also to those who have given us their advice and words of encouragement. Finally, we want to say that none of these would be possible without the determined support of the School of Government and Public Transformation of the TEC de Monterrey, our NGO, Derechos Humanos y Litigio Estratégico Mexicano, DLM, and the team of the Transparency and Anti-Corruption Initiative of the TEC de Monterrey, who have put all their effort into providing citizens with an impartial and accessible tool to fight corruption. Thank you all very much, and now we'll start answering the questions that you might have. Questions from the audience, and one of it, Angeles, is they're asking us, how do you hope this edition of the Paris Peace Forum will support the work of your project?
Well, I mean, just for being here, the opportunity of being here, I think that like a lot of people, a lot of citizens of all over the world, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that come from NGOs and the international organizations, I think that that's like maybe one of the things that we wanted to have with this opportunity. And maybe we can think about some specific things. Maybe we can think about giving up or expanding our initiative, our tool. Maybe we can also need some kind of grants and financial support. We also want to talk with specialists all over the world about corruption and how do they tackle corruption in their countries. We would also like to, I don't know, to have some contact with people specialized in whistleblowing and how can we protect them, and maybe to think about to enhance or to make a better law here in Mexico or even in Latin America, because it's a problem all over the region.
As we said in our speech, it is very important for us to be here at the Paris Peace Forum because it's giving us the opportunity to talk to very important stakeholders, as you said, and because this is letting us, and this is giving us a great opportunity to participate with many other organizations from Latin America and the Caribbean to implement these kind of platforms in their country as well. We know, because of the experience and the talks we've had with many of those organizations, that they are struggling with the same problem on anti-corruption, on corruption matters. So we have also a second question from the audience.
Yes, let me read this one for you because I think that you're the one that have to answer this one. Have you ever followed a complaint until the end? Have there been any sanctions resulting from the complaints?
Well, as everyone can imagine, a project that evolves and it's part of a social society organization and from the academia, it's a complicated one. We have a lot of barriers as organizations from the civil society to promote our actions and to set up the standards in benefit of in this case, of the whistleblowers. We have formalized just a small amount of those complaints that we have received based on the what the complainants have asked. As you know, the complainants have the opportunity to just talk it loud and just to report the acts of corruption. And they also have the opportunity to ask us to legally formalize their report and to help them through these difficult process that whistleblowers are facing every day. That's why we say that whistleblowers are brave men and women that are facing the authorities and the bureaucracy that we are facing here in Mexico. So we haven't complete any of the complaints until the end. In Mexico, the processes, the legal processes take a lot of time. But we want to invite with this to the authorities to help us on these on this project. It's very important for us to count on them because their support is invaluable to actually promote the rights of the whistleblowers. We have to say on this matter at this point that we have received a lot of help, not just from the Tec de Monterrey and the members of DLM, but we have also received the support by other civil society organizations. We have received the support by the lawyers' bars. We have received the support of many other independent professionals that are helping us on this very important task. And this is like a good time to thank them also, because none of these would be possible without their support. We have another question, right? How has the government reacted to the results of the initiative so far? Angeles, why don't you tell the audience what has been our experience talking to authorities and civil society organizations, but mostly authorities, how they receive this information and how have they been responding on it?
Okay, they have been very open to talk about the tool, right? They have talked with us many times about the tool, about how to make it better, about what other things we can add. And fortunately, we haven't had the opportunity to work with them properly. So I think that it's maybe because this tool, it doesn't work for start specific investigations against one person. But this tool is very important for them, or could be very important for them, because we can give them, the tool can give them maps of corruption, and then they can prevent corruption. So maybe we have to talk more with them about prevention and not just sanctioning corruption. What do you think?
We could say that we are a little bit disappointed on the answers that we've been receiving from the authorities on this very important stage where the investigations should start, or where the acts of prevention, as you say, should start as well. We invite, this is like a great opportunity to invite over the authorities in Mexico, not just on a federal level, but also on a local level, to support this platform and to try to implement it before their constituents. It's a very important platform that, as Angeles said, will show them the feelings and the sentiments of the citizens.
Okay, we have just 2 more minutes, and maybe we can answer this last question. What is your long-term goal for the tool?
We are very excited to let everyone know that this platform, Denuncia Corrupción Coronavirus, was just the beginning of a long-term project. We believe that COVID-19 hasn't become to an end. We believe that the vaccine distribution has a lot of challenges that we might face, not only with the government or partnering with the government, but partnering also with another kind of organization, international organizations, and other kind of civil society organizations.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that we just, okay, so, well, thank you. Thank you for everyone for listening to us. And please contact us if you are interested in getting to know more about whistleblowing, corruption, coronavirus. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you. It was a very happy day.